Hi, I'm here today with Santamaria with Senior Living Selections. We're going to speak with him about what he does and how he can help seniors. So stay tuned. If this video is helpful, please like and subscribe for more videos about living in Sarasota and the local real estate market. So this is Santamaria with Senior Living Selections. Andre, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm newer to Florida. I'm happily adapting to Sarasota. I've been here for about 5 years. My family and I moved from Tennessee. I've been in the senior living industry for 9 years now total, and wanted to go where people go to retire and have a wonderful life. And I feel like that's what brought me down to Sarasota, and my family and I are enjoying it. We love it.
Where in Tennessee did you live?
We moved from Nashville,
Okay.
but we are from East Tennessee, like more around Knoxville area. But Nashville is where we were at before moving down to Sarasota.
Yeah, we just were up in Gatlinburg in the Smoky Mountains for a couple of days.
beautiful.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I'll be there Thursday.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
We saw some fall colors and everything. It was awesome.
Looking forward to it.
So your company is Senior Living Selections.
Correct.
What is it that you guys do?
So when someone's in distress and they're looking to sell their home and see what their next steps are in their life, they know to call a realtor.
Right.
And do what you do, and then you kind of take away a lot of that anxiety and bring them resources. So that's similar to what I do, but in the senior living and senior care world. So families reach out to me whenever they are caring for a loved one who is in their home and they can't manage that care anymore. It's too much, especially in our area. We have 85-year-olds who are taking care of 90-year-olds, and it just becomes too much to do it at home. And they either need someone to come help them at their home, or they need to look at senior communities where, there'll be someone there 24 hours a day. So I kind of come in and show them all their options and find resources that they might need that they didn't know they needed, whether that be an attorney, whether that be financial aid through the VA or through the state. So I should say we, because I have a team, we come in and, come to the rescue, and it's at no cost to the family, which is wonderful.
At no cost.
At no cost.
Like zero cost.
Like zero cost. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a great service. So if I were going to categorize you, I guess I would say you're kind of an advisor and a connector.
Correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
A lot of times people call us and they should have called you a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's good to have you available, that now we have someone that we can refer our clients to, because it's not our bailiwick.
Absolutely.
And we do some of that, but it's not our expertise. We are senior real estate specialists, but we're really connectors. So you're an advisor and a connector, so that's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
Great. So what kind of, let's say somebody, they're at the point where they know that they're going to have to do something. Maybe they've contacted us and they want to see what their options are about selling their house. Maybe they're thinking of downsizing, or they just don't know what to do. So we point them to you. You come in. What are the kind of options that people might have?
Their options really depends on when they're calling. I like to educate more than help in stressful situations. So if they come to us at an earlier stage and they're kind of aware of, hey, if something were to happen, these are my options. Mm-hmm. That's where I like to come in, and that way they have a choice in where they go and what's going on, and also educate their if they have children or whoever, they let them know what their wishes are going to be. So those options kind of change depending on each situation. Sometimes we get families calling us and saying, hey, my mom's being discharged from the hospital 2 days from now, and they're telling me she can't go home. She needs 24/7 care. I can't afford. I called and found out that caregiver is so much a day. What other options do I have? And that's where we educate. So kind of depending on where you are along with your journey, But we try to do a lot of education out in the community, and that's something that we're focused on, especially this year and coming to the new year, that we're hoping to educate the community, our surrounding people, of options, because there's nothing worse than feeling like the stress of a caregiver and not knowing, how do I get help? Can I get help? Where do I turn? So it's a very difficult journey to navigate if you don't have an advocate, if you don't have someone who knows and can tell you what your options are now or in the future.
So tell us a little bit about the different kinds of options that people have. Like, what's the difference between assisted living and aging in place, or what we used to call a CCRC? Mm-hmm. We call it, now what do we call it? We call it something else, a life plan community.
Yeah.
What's the difference, especially assisted living in a life plan community? What's the differences?
Okay, so there's many differences. So a CCRC community, a continuing retirement community, is more based on somebody who's coming in at a younger age and is planning to go through the end of life process. Mm-hmm. They have independent living, they have assisted living, they have their own skilled nursing, they have memory care. They pretty much have everything in one campus. The cost to that is typically what deters a lot of people. It is a lot upfront cost to move into a CCRC. So that typically either if you can afford it, you may do it or you may
mm-hmm.
not.
Okay.
But then a lot of people can't afford $200,000 up front, or it can go up to $1 million up front.
Wow.
So then assisted living is a great option because those communities are month-to-month rentals. So they may have a community fee of maybe, on average, I think right now our Sarasota market has around $2,500 one-time community fee, where they pay a move-in fee, but that's one time. Mm-hmm. And then, if they're there for 6 months and want to move back home, they can. There's no long-term commitment. Only it's 30 days at a time. So that's a great option, and I often encourage that, especially for someone who wants to be at home, wants to still be independent. Let's go to assisted living right now while you're coming out of rehab or you're coming out of the hospital. Let's do that for 3 to 6 months. Get you stronger, get you to where you're at home and you feel safe, because a lot of times they rush going home too early. Yeah. And then they're scared, and then they're scared to go, use the restroom, or they're scared to get up and make themselves something to eat because they're balanced, or they're afraid they may fall and no one's going to be there to help them. And then they realize, oh gosh, maybe I should have gone to a community, but by that time they're too afraid to call.
Really?
So it's a juggling act, and there's so many options. There's residential care homes, which I actually recommended to a family earlier today because his mom is a very high fall risk, and residential care homes is essentially a house turned into an assisted living. And it may only have 6 to 8 residents, but if you have 2 people working there, you have a great ratio of care staff to residents. And being a home, you can see pretty much from a living room if someone's getting up to use the restroom. You can go rush and help them. So those type of scenarios can help a lot of people. Or they may just want a small place. They don't want a big community that has 100 residents and they have the chandeliers. Maybe they're just,
that's not them.
They want to feel like they're in a home or at home. So
it's a great option.
There are many great options. And
are there a lot of those in Sarasota?
Not as many as I would hope. We have some, but there's not enough. I don't think there's enough for the need that we presently have.
That actually brings up a point too. You guys are not just Sarasota, right?
Correct. Yes, absolutely not. We have grown. We actually have 4 advisors along with myself, so it's a team of 5. We have a registered nurse who covers Pinellas County down to Sarasota County. Alongside him, there's a physical therapist who also covers from Pinellas down to Sarasota. I have an advisor who lives in Sarasota, majorly works in Sarasota, and is in Venice as well. And then I have someone who lives in Charlotte County and she covers Charlotte, Lee, and Collier.
Wow.
So we have kind of the whole coast of the west coast of Florida covered with someone who, you know, has been in these communities. They visit them frequently. They visit their clients that they've placed at some of these communities often. So they get to know the communities very well and see, you know, what are their deficiencies, you know, what's the things that the family's telling us that they're unhappy with. We try to resolve a lot of those issues along with the family, be the advocate. So I think that's one of the things that makes us different from some of our competitors. We're still very involved after the families moved in, and, you know, all the way through end of life, we try to be there for the families.
One last question, because this is a situation that we've run up against a lot. A lot of times we have a client, that, you know, they come to us too late usually. It's not too late, but it would have been easier on them if they had come to you earlier. But they're here, but their family is somewhere else. And we had a wonderful gentleman. He was, at the time, I think he was 94. He was a World War II vet. He was on the beaches of Normandy.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's like he was wounded twice. I mean, amazing. He had no family. His only family lived in Missouri. It was a niece. So it was difficult because he kind of went downhill quickly. And, you know, she's up in Missouri. So do you work can you work with people remotely like that?
Absolutely. So that's a lot of, unfortunately, what we deal with is families up north, and then, you know, they're here. One of my advisors, I think she moved somebody in with the families in Oregon. They didn't have to come in a normal circumstance without someone here for them. They would have had to flown in, but they didn't have time off. You know, it was a situation where they weren't able, as much as they would have wanted to come here and help, they weren't able to. So she actually helped the gentleman move in, you know, bought him sheets, bought him all kinds of things that he needed because, you know, he just didn't have moving into his new home. So she went above and beyond what most people would ever do to someone that they've just met, you know. So she was able to kind of keep in touch with the family, be the advocate, be that third person. We also offer free wellness checks. So anytime, whether you're at home, whether you're at the community, whether you're wherever their loved one is, we can go in and check, because a lot of times the seniors will tell you, oh, you know, things are great. You know, I'm loving life. You know, I'm going to the grocery store and everything's fine. But then we come in and they have, you know, 3 jugs of milk that's expired and they're still drinking out of it, food that's expired. They're not eating healthy. You could tell they've lost weight. So we can do those wellness checks to be their advocate and let their family know, hey, you know, things may sound great over the phone, but they're not as great as it sounds like. So there's a lot of things that we can do, you know, for families, and with the transition of senior living and being safe. That's our biggest thing, is we want our seniors to be safe.
Yeah, we had a similar thing in our family where the person was not telling the whole story to everyone, and when we showed up, we were like, oh, this is not what it seems like.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to understand. The thing that was surprising to me, so we went through the seniors real estate training, seniors real estate specialist training. There was a lot of things I just wasn't aware of. There are so many resources available to people.
Yes.
And at all different stages along the journey, life's journey. And I just encourage you, if you know someone, you have someone in your family, or you yourself, call Andre, and we'll put his contact information on the screen, and it'll be in the description as well. Give him a call. Don't wait. It's not going to cost you anything, just to get some advice and to let him know where you're at, and he can give you some pointers in which direction to go. So don't wait. The biggest problem we have, I think, is that we don't know what's available.
Absolutely.
Or we don't understand it. And then we put it off and we wait, and then we're in a situation that maybe...
It's an emergency.
It's an emergency.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we get called in at that point sometimes, and it's unfortunate, because it could have been a lot easier.
Yeah, and that's what we see. It's sad when we run into families that could have enjoyed assisted living, and instead they're going straight to skilled nursing or a long-term care facility, and they completely skip that point in life. And a lot of our clients that we help, they tell us, I wish I would have done this sooner. You know, most people say, I could have done this 2 years ago. I wish I would have done this 2 years ago. You know, so that's what we like to hear is, you know, people making a happy transition. And, you know, more often than not, there's not been, I can't think of anybody that's ever made this decision. And even if they went in kicking and screaming, within a few months, they've got some friends, they're out mingling, you know, they're healthier, their mental health is better. You know, there's so many things that come along with, you know, just being around and socializing and getting a nutritious meal. I mean, just those simple things in life are very important.
I agree. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you. Again, I urge you to give Andre a call sooner than later. We'll put his information in the description, and also will be right on your screen right there. Hope you have a great day.